Why was Yosef buried in the Nile River? Was because they wanted the river to be blessed by Yosef's influence. In Egypt, it's different than Israel. In Israel, you rely on rain. In Egypt, they had a whole different irrigation system. The Nile River would flow up and it would water everything else. The Nile River was their source of livelihood. So when Yosef dies, the Egyptians wanted to put him there that the water should be blessed by this man.
But according to Jewish law, or just
No. According to Jewish law, it was before the Torah. It was before the Torah was given. But nevertheless, it was them, the Egyptians, that did it. So, if we're saying that even some individuals, they had the right to ask God, why should we be different for doing only one mitzvah, one carbon? So how much more so when you have all the Jewish people today? And we can't do, never mind the carbon Pesach, we can't do any of the karbanos. We cannot do a lot of the sacrifices, all the sacrifices, and a lot of the other mitzvahs. So don't you think it should be a necessary point that we demand of God and say, why should we be left out? Not only that, by them it was that one time. Now we can go to God and say, look, it's been not 1 year, not 2 years, not 3 years since the destruction, but it's been over 1900 years since the destruction. Almost 2,000 years. We cannot do the mitzvahs as you would like us to do, because there's a system. There's 613 mitzvahs. More than half we cannot do today. Yeah, under 300. We cannot do all 613 today. So why shouldn't we ask? Why shouldn't we ask God, why should I be different and not be able to do your mitzvahs properly? You see, there is precedent to that in the Chumash, that people can ask that. And as I said before, God awaits this type of asking. If people would really mean it and ask, it would come. There's a bracha in the Amidah. It says like this, in the prayers we say every day, Es tzemach David avdecha meheros etzmiach. David, your servant, should quickly rise, grow. The karnoi tarum, lift up his basically Mashiach should be come and save us, salvation. And then it says, for your salvation we wait all day. Ki lishu ascha kivinu kol hayom. Your salvation we wait all day. So I believe it's the Chida, or a commentary that says, you know what that bracha is saying of the Amidah? What's key? Because we wait for you every day. Bring us Mashiach because we wait for you every day. What does it got to do? Bring us Mashiach. So he says, the commentary to the Siddur says, even if Jewish people do not have other merits to be redeemed, but the only merit we have is we ask for you. Bring us Mashiach because we ask you. If that is the only reason that Hashem should bring the redemption, that should be enough. Because people ask for Mashiach to come. That's very powerful. That's saying that the Amidah, in the Amidah that we say every day, is telling Hashem, send us redemption because we wait for your coming every day. And the truth is that by bringing the second Pesach, it didn't only help for then and the future, but it was like a fix-up for the prior. You kind of fixed it.
You have to teach Muramats on the second day Pesach?
No, it's a good question. What's the custom? I always ate shmura matzah the second Pesach. I think people who eat shmura a whole Pesach would eat shmura a second also. But don't worry, Micheline, you don't have to clean your house a second time. You can have chametz and matzah at the same time. You can have cake and matzah on the same time.
Basting cake.
You have matzo ball soup.
It says here matzah and bitter herb. That means, how come we don't have more? Maybe I don't want to know.
In the time of the Beis Hamikdash,
Oh, yeah.
it was with the Pesach came matzah moror. So even the first Pesach, Nisan, moror today is not biblical, because biblical moror is only if it comes with the carbon Pesach. So matzah is a biblical mitzvah today. Moror is a rabbinic mitzvah.
So it's a shame they used to have more.
Yeah. Al matzah yisum roira meichluhu. There's a whole discussion among codifiers. What happens if Mashiach comes between the first Pesach and the second Pesach? Would everybody be obligated to bring the second Pesach because we didn't do the first one? We were all tamei. So would we have to bring the second one? The Chida writes about it. A lot of comment. That there was in 91, 92, I think there was the chief rabbis of Israel had a long yechidus with the Rebbe. They came, Rabbi Shapiro and Rabbi Mordechai Eliyahu. They were the chief rabbis of Israel, and they came in, and this was a big part of their discussion about what the poskim write, what different write. What happens if Mashiach comes? And basically Eliyahu Hanavi is going to have to come and figure it out, because there's a lot of ways to lean this way and ways to lean that way. For example, in order to become pure, you need to have 7 days. From someone touches a dead person, whatever, there's a 7-day process to become pure. Well, if he comes before 7 days of Pesach Sheni,
Then you need a paraduma.
you need a paraduma also, right? You need to have the 10th heifer. You need to make the ashes, which that could happen, but then where's the 7 days? So there's a whole question, what happens with that second Pesach, if indeed you're going to have to bring it or not? So let him come and we'll worry about it, right? Let him come. But the point I wanted to share tonight is that asking for Mashiach is not really just one group's decision to do, but it has been in Jewish history all along, and we see even basis for this in the Chumash, in the Siddur, in commentary, and so on, that it's important that we ask Hashem. And you have to, many times we ask, but we do it out of routine. Prayer, especially, becomes habit. And it becomes habit, so you don't really think what you're saying. You're just saying the words. But this is something that has to be a true, heartfelt prayer. This is what people have to think about. And when people indeed will ask and mean it, then most certainly Mashiach will be here. Let him come now. Ad Masai b'mheira v'yameinu mamish.
Amen.
What about the war of Gog and Magog first?
We don't need a Gog and Magog
No,
first.
you don't need
It could come without Gog and Magog. Or it could be Gog and Magog happened already. When you look at the halacha of Mashiach and you look at the midrashim of Mashiach, you find a lot of different contradictions. But you have to look at the halacha of Mashiach. The halacha is very simple. If a man comes, he has qualifications, and people listen to him, and he brings the Jewish people closer to Hashem, even without miracles, and he builds a Beis Hamikdash, that's already Messianic age. It doesn't say anywhere he must, that there has to be this and has to be that. There are different signs that the Midrashim write, but again, Gog and Magog, it could be it happened already. We know exactly what these things are. What could be it had happened. Yasher Koach, the organizers, and the attendants.